Ladies and gentlemen, there's many people that come on the channel and give us compliments and give words of appreciation to what we're doing. And some of these are family members of the players we feature or make requests about us doing podcasts on their very, very important family member that had success in pro hockey. Now, today, it's a special tribute. Nino Delmonte took time recently to check out my podcast on the WHA's Minnesota Fighting Saints, and to quote what he said, "I'm a huge hockey fan. You do a great job. Keep up the great work. Could you please do something on Armand Dutch Delmonte, my grandfather? God bless." Well, Nino, it's my pleasure. I really appreciate the kind words. So today, ladies and gentlemen, on our Sunday showcase of former Boston Bruins, we're going to talk about Dutch. Now, Armand Delmonte, for a lot of people, may be forgotten, but for the Delmonte family, he's not. He was probably one of the most important skaters of the USHL in their post-war years. He played in LA in the PCHL, played with the great Boston Olympics, played with a myriad of teams, including Tacoma, Cleveland, Ottawa, and Marion. So today we're going to talk a little bit about his career in hockey and how he was part of probably one of the strongest Boston Bruins teams of the post-war era. Now, he was born in the great community of Timmins, Ontario, played right wing, 5'10", 170 pounds, and if you can tell by the hockey cards we're presenting, he wasn't too bad looking gentleman, so I know a lot of people appreciated his, visage. Now, unfortunately, April 7, 1981, he passed away. And his loss was felt throughout his family and his hockey fans. 57 is not a life. 54 is not a life. I'm 55. My life is just starting. Now, he eventually started his career on a major level with St. Catharines Falcons. At the time, St. Catharines was a hotbed of junior hockey. He was in the OHA for 2 years. He had 12 points in 23 games in 1944, 8 big goals, and of course 4 big goals in the playoffs. 45, he had 31 points in 21 games, 2 goals and 2 assists for 4 points in 5 playoff contests. Now, he was with the EHL's Boston Olympics for most of the year, put up some really, really dynamite numbers. 50 points in 46 games, a full 30 goals and 20 assists. So you can see he was a heavy scorer and a good playmaker. Now, we got called up for one game with Boston, and that season, ladies and gentlemen, as a lot of you know, they had a very strong team. They made us all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals, or only to lose to the Montreal Canadiens as part of that 1940s dynasty. We talked about that in the previous podcast. Now, 47, he found himself with the Olympics for another season. 41 points in 56 games, 6 points in the playoffs. And then, of all things, he found himself in California playing for the very popular LA Monarchs of the PCHL in their playoffs with 6 assists in 7 games. Now, over the next few years, again, he became a USHL legend over 4 seasons. He probably was one of the most dominant skaters the association has ever seen. He had an okay year, his first campaign in 1948, with 10 points in 43 games, including 4 goals. And then, as we say in the North Shore of New Brunswick, he opened out 72 points. Kind of a career year for St. Paul in 49, 33 goals and 39 assists in 66 games and 7 points in 7 playoff contests. Next season with St. Paul, 54 points in 69 games, including 18 goals, and in 51 points in 57 games, including 25 goals. 52 was an interesting year as well. He went over to the PCHL a second time, a full season, 46 points in 62 games, including 20 goals, and 8 points in 7 playoff contests. 53, he found himself the Cleveland Barons of the AHL when Cleveland was in its glory years, 13 points in 33 games. And 54, he split time with the QHL with Ottawa and the Marion Barons of the IHL, 31 goals, 35 assists for 66 points in 56 games, and 4 points in the playoffs. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at this for a second. This is just totally amazing. He played in 9 playoff series over a half dozen leagues. He played the OHA, the NHL, the EAHL, the PCHL, the USHL, the AHL, the QHL, and the IHL. So you're looking at a person that was going from association to association, playing his best, having a great results, power play, on the first or second line, and again, scoring key goals. That year in St. Paul, in 49, 72 points. St. Paul had a really strong team that year, and he was probably a big factor in them having a very strong run, like a lot of USHL teams in St. Paul had in that era, or as they called the pre-Korean War era. Now, final USHL totals, that's the key one here: 187 points, 235 games, 80 goals, and 8 points in 10 playoff games, and that one NHL game in 1946. Now, ECW Press out of Ontario has a book about one-game wonders, and that's kind of a misnomer. There was no wonder why he made the NHL. He was a good player, but you get caught into a numbers game. And I'll give you an example why you got caught into a numbers game. There's a reason why he didn't make the Boston Bruins full-time. A lot of players came back from war, and this side had some really, really strong players. They had nearly a dozen skaters that year in a 50-game season that had 10 games or more. Milt Schmidt was there, Pep Gouliot, Woody Dumart, Don Gallinger, Herbie Kane was there, Terry Reardon, Bobby Bauer, we did a podcast last week. And Dick Clapper too as well took over some coaching duties, and you had the goalies like Paul Bibeau and Frank Bismarck. So just because he didn't have a full-time stead with Boston is not because he couldn't crack the team, it's because the team was loaded. And you understand, ladies and gentlemen, that back with the original 6, you only had openings for 120 players. In the modern expansion era in the WHA of the 60s and 70s, obviously he would have made a side easily, but wrong time. But he had a good career in the minors, and that's what happened back then. Sometimes the minor leagues, we get better opportunity. But when you come from Timmins, Ontario, we all know, you're an athlete that is in demand everywhere, because people have had a reputation, being from Timmins, to be some of the hardest working athletes ever in Canadian history, and a hard work ethic of the community as well. So thank you to Mr. Delmonte for making a suggestion for a grandfather. We appreciate all our listeners throughout Canada and the States. If you like what we're doing here, pass it along. There's a like, comment, or subscribe is well appreciated. There's no monetization, by the way, with this channel. This is for free. You're wondering why you're not watching any ads, because I refuse ads on my channel, because I don't want what they call the analytics manipulated by whatever group that thinks they want to come on here. And as we like to say, if you like what we're doing, tell your friends. If you don't like it, well, don't tell nobody. 1,600 podcasts plus and counting. Let's get 2,000 podcasts before, I don't know, July? Why not? I can do 4 a day if you keep on listening. Have a good day. Bye.